Did you grow up wanting to be a chiropractor?
Never in my life did I think I would be a chiropractor.
When did it come into your thought process?
Not until my buddy brought about the idea. Norway, they took a group of individuals, did sauna. I think it was 1,400 individuals over the course of 30 years. And it was a tremendous difference.
Getting in the business of touching people during COVID. You can't do virtual chiropractic care.
Not really.
I am a huge believer in scaling as fast as possible, as wide as possible, as tall as possible, all the above. While some people are like, oh, no, focus on one thing.
Businesses of the future, they're going to have value, HVAC and electrical.
It's marketing, it's sales, it's operations. Whether it's my business or your business, if you can market yourself well and then make those customers happy through the operations,
that's all you need to do.
What is the main focus point right now?
The thing that makes our business go round is going to be
What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Successful DNA. I am here with my friend Connor Oliveri. Connor, welcome to the pod.
I appreciate it, man. It's good to be here.
So let's start here. You got a lot of stuff going on. Let's talk high level with your businesses, and then we'll back up after that.
Deal. Let's do it.
What is the main focus point right now, business-wise?
Oh, man. I just heard somebody talk the other day not to get too spread too thin, try to focus on one thing.
I don't believe in that.
Yeah, as an entrepreneur, I don't know if I can figure that one out. Focus point for me right now is actually 2025 was a huge growth year for us within the different businesses that we have. Focus for 2026 is really to get the house in order, right? Rise Collective houses, like that. So we're trying to basically wrap our arms around everything that we acquired and attained and perfect it as much as we possibly can. I think it's super important to just take a second to pause, right? Look what you got, and set the foundation for what's to come.
And then talk through high level each business so the listeners can understand what you do.
Yeah. So, chiropractor by trade, graduated with my chiropractic degree, doctorate.
Logan?
Life University in Atlanta, in 2020. So right, COVID year.
Cool.
That was my foundation. Started working out of the back of a doctor's office, and that transitioned to an executive suite, which transitioned to a 3,000 square foot space. We rebranded, and recently acquired a second clinic in April of 25. So business number one is a management group, so an MSO that is acquiring chiropractic clinics over the course of the next 10 years, 15 years, and integrating them with other proactive, preventative, regenerative medicine services to just help people in general. We're seeing a huge shift in health and wellness right now. So that is the primary focus, to just build that portfolio. And then second business is a little bit of a side hustle that my buddy and I started just out of a love for contrast therapy. Again, a huge shift in the market with regards to those services. And we opened up a high-end, luxurious contrast therapy concept in downtown Tampa. So that's in the Gasworks district. Huge. That's going to be, I'm sure you're involved in the real estate market and develop. That's going to be a home run, I think. So we opened that up, and basically we do guided breathwork classes with sauna and cold room experience. So, a lot of people have cold plunges. For business purposes, we wanted to create something that was a little proprietary and different. And so we developed a cold room. So you do basically an hour of contrast between hot and cold. You can do it guided through our app. You select a class and kind of do that. Or you can go ahead and just do free flow is what we call it. And you can go with your buddies and you can reserve that time slot and do the same thing.
And then I guess a cold room is self-explanatory.
Yeah. So cold plunges, a lot of people either like or don't like cold plunges. From a health benefit, right? It's not necessarily the best. You can get a lot of adrenal fatigue for females, reproductive organs and systems. We wanted to have something that was a little bit, A, healthier for the body, and B, easier for people to do, and C, sanitary, right? Lower maintenance cost, kind of all the above.
Yeah. And what is a typical room temperature in the cold room?
-15 is what we keep it at. As the day goes on and people are transitioning in and out, it maintains pretty well, but it's sub-zero.
And what's recommended stay inside of a?
We'll do 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Our coaches, we call them breathwork coaches. We tell them anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes is typical protocol.
So back and forth there in sauna.
Yeah. So the typical class would be 12 to 15 minutes. We have advanced classes that are 20 minutes in the sauna, and then you transition to the cold room for 3 to 5 minutes, and you do 2 to 3 rounds depending on which class.
And I'm sure there's a lot of benefits to it, but like what are like the larger benefits?
Oh man, we're getting into the doctor questions. Yeah. Honestly, there is a ton of cardiovascular benefits seen more so with the sauna than the cold, right? So you're really getting a lot of the health benefits from the sauna, right? Heart overall, I think I just read a study that was, if you're doing sauna, that's roughly 190 degrees for 20 minutes a week, you're 80% less likely to have a cardiovascular event or 80%? Dementia. Yeah. Or dementia in your lifetime, or Alzheimer's, same thing. Right. Yeah. So it was a study, I think, out of Norway. They took a group of individuals that did sauna. I think it was 1,400 individuals over the course of 30 years. And they looked at their health versus other people's. Yeah. And it was a tremendous difference.
That's crazy. And then now I'm asking more questions for my benefit than I might be others. But so you said 20 minutes a week. Is there for cold plunge and sauna, like what's too much a week? Is there such thing?
Yeah, so they say for sauna, if you're going over that 210 degree mark, you're actually going to increase your likelihood of developing dementia and Alzheimer's. So there is an overexposure component that could actually hurt you. Cold plunge, same thing. It's all about balance, man. You know?
So in a typical week, if I do cold plunge for what's like perfect? If I'm doing 41 degrees for 3 minutes, how many days a week should I do that?
You can do it every morning if you want to.
Okay. Yeah. And then 194, 20 minutes in the sauna, as much as I want.
Yeah, I do it, one time a day.
Yeah, but like every day in the week?
Every day.
It's fine.
Yeah, every day.
You recommend every day? Too much of a hurt.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Just like working out.
Yeah. Okay, sick. And now I know. I gotta get a sauna. All right, let's back up. Like I said earlier, you're from where I currently live. You're from the mean streets of Palm Harbor, Florida. Palm Harbor University?
Yeah, that's where I went to high school.
Yeah.
Yep.
So at what point did you grow up wanting to be a chiropractor?
Never.
When did that change?
Never in my life did I think I would be a chiropractor. Right. So like you, I'm sure, former athlete, right? Played baseball. That was our focus. Yeah. Right. We were just head over heels, balls to the wall, trying to go ahead and make it to the MLB. Yeah. Right. That was the dream as a kid. And I finished my playing days, and I had to go to USF to finish my degree, and graduated in biomedical sciences. So my family, my dad always kind of pushed us to have some sort of solid backup plan. And so when I was going into school, I wanted to go ahead and have a degree that could support me post-college. And I thought to myself, being in healthcare, you're not really going to have any, issues getting a job. So I got my biomedical sciences degree, and I had done some shadowing and looked at the different types of careers.
Where did you graduate?
Graduated college in, I want to say it would have been 2017 is when I graduated college. Cool. Stopped playing in 2015. Gotcha. And so I had shadowed some doctors, orthopedic surgeons, neurosurgeons, saw the hospital setting, didn't like that. Thought about med sales, didn't really like that. My dad had a buddy, and we had somebody that we grew up with who was a chiropractor, and he had been pretty successful. More of a business guy, had multiple locations, multiple offices. I thought I could probably, let's see what this guy does. And I hung out with him for 2 weeks and went into the office and kind of saw what he did. And dude, I shit you not, it's like I blacked out and I just applied to school. And next thing I know, I'm in Atlanta and I'm doing this chiropractic degree. Right. I didn't go the med school route only because I didn't want to take physics 1 and physics 2, which I would have had to take 2 semesters back to back, and it would delayed me getting a degree or getting into school for a year. And I was just like, fuck that. I didn't want to deal with that. So,
And when it comes to like, who is Connor, like growing up, whether it's, adolescent years or teenage years, like, is there anything impactful that kind of has made you into who you are today?
dude, honestly, I was never the best at anything.
Yeah.
I was always the guy trying to earn his stripes. And I think that worked to my benefit. I never had raw talent. I was decent, but I had to work my ass off. When it came to athletics, when it came to school and education, I was just, CB student, sometimes A's here or there. So I think just honestly, never being the best and always having to fight my way to earn my stripes was definitely something that I could attribute to who I am now.
And then talk through life in Atlanta. How was that experience? And then when did you graduate there?
Life in Atlanta. Honestly, I love it. We were talking earlier, you're from South Carolina. And I love the Southeast. Florida boy at heart, right? But having grown up my whole life around that, I love the seasons.
Yeah.
Unlike you. Yeah. So I thoroughly enjoyed Atlanta. I was in Marietta. So I was in Northwest Atlanta, lived in a small town called Smyrna, went to school in Marietta, went downtown all the time. So I enjoyed it there for the most part.
Then how was chiropractic school there?
It was good. The school that I went to was one of the primary chiropractic schools in the country.
There's only a few, right? Or a handful?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law went to, where's Logan? Is that St. Louis?
Yep. There's Logan.
Is that in St. Louis?
Honestly, dude, I got no clue.
I think it was Logan.
Yeah, I have no clue. I enjoyed it though. I mean, not being a chiropractic guy my whole life and not really knowing much about it, I got there and I was like, what the fuck am I getting myself into?
Yeah.
Right. And all this voodoo doctor stuff. But the more that you learn, the more you educate yourself, the more you can identify, like, listen, I don't have to go this voodoo route. You can take more of a scientific approach and a full body, Have
you ever heard of brachioradial pruritus?
Yeah, something like that. I mean,
so I have it.
Which arm? Left arm, right arm?
Both. So probably like 2, I believe, fully in chiropractic care, because 2 years ago, I started getting like this itching sensation in my forearms.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what it was. And went to a dermatologist, thinking itching in my skin, something with my skin.
Yeah.
She immediately knew, which is great because like the more research I did, like a lot of people don't get diagnosed with it very quickly. They go to a chiropractor, or they go to a dermatologist, or some neurologist, and it's not a very well-known issue, I guess. And she diagnosed me pretty quick. She was like, "What you're telling me? You have brachioradial pruritus, and you go see a chiropractor." And so I went to see a chiropractor, and they recommended I go see a what's the special chiropractor with the neck only. Cervical chiropractor.
Yeah. Upper cervical.
Yeah, upper cervical chiropractor. And then this was going on 2 years at that point, where, especially at night, and I wouldn't sleep. I mean, I have to.
What were you feeling? Like,
it's a itching, tingling sensation in your forearms.
In your forearm, the top portion of your forearm.
Yeah, top forearm, and then lower portion of your
arm.
arm.
And you never had it?
Never had it.
It just randomly.
Set.
That's crazy.
Probably, I'm 33 now, so between years 30 and 31, the only solution was about every 4 or 5 days, I'd go to Publix and I would get bags of ice. And I would soak my arms in a cooler of ice before I go to bed.
No way.
That was the only thing that would stop it.
That's crazy.
But then I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. and be back.
But chiropractic now.
Yeah. So
totally resolved it.
I went to upper cervical chiropractor. They did their voodoo stuff, and I haven't had anything since.
Hell yeah.
So supposedly it's some type of, there's like not a lot of like, they're trying to figure out what exactly it is. And, honestly, one of the best things that helped me was a Facebook group. It's like a Facebook group, like almost like a support group out there and it's like, hey, I tried this and it worked.
Yeah.
Right. And like one of them was even said upper cervical chiropractor and it worked. So I went there and so it's some type of like issue in the nerves in your neck and on your spine, or, and in your neck bones. And the Atlas C1, C2, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right in there. And then no issues. It gets worse when it's hotter. The sun has some issue to do with it too. And the what is it the sun gives off?
For those listening, he's not even kidding about that either.
Yeah. And so it was it sucked. I mean, you're not sleeping because of your arms are burning. So now
I could imagine, man.
Yeah. So now I sleep like a baby. When did you graduate life?
What's up, you guys? I wanted to introduce to you our done-for-you Airbnb investing service called BNB Turnkey that has massive tax implications. It's basically an investing service that allows you to invest in cash-flowing Airbnbs and not do any of the work. It's best explained in 3 phases. Number 1, we find, analyze, and underwrite the property. In phase 2, we handle all the interior design and construction. And then phase 3, we manage the property on the back end. The best part is most of our clients qualify for the short terminal loophole of the IRS tax code. This allows for average clients to write off over $200,000 in depreciation on their tax bill. For more information, click the link in the description to connect with our team. As always, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the episode.
2020. Yeah, COVID year.
Yeah. So nothing like getting in the business of touching people during COVID.
Let me tell you, man, that was something. I was shitting my pants. I was like, what a great career choice, right?
Yeah. So,
man.
Yeah. You can't do virtual chiropractic care.
Not really.
So talk through that. What was life like, no pun intended, after life?
Man.
What'd you start doing?
Well, the doctor that I had kind of done my preceptorship with, he had that office, that room in the back of his office. And I knew that I didn't want to work for anybody else. I had a lot of confidence in my ability to communicate with people, and I'm naturally a people person. That's another trait that I think is a gift per se. And yeah, dude, the next thing I knew, I was like going out, just marketing myself, setting up a table, finding patients, telling them what I could do for them. And then I get them in the office and I'd be like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
But I figured it out.
Let's talk through that more, because that's interesting, right? Where I think a lot of chiropractors graduate, and they go work for a chiropractor. They're working for somebody else. They're not happy. They want to go out on their own. That's not easy, but you did it.
Mm-hmm.
How did you go about retaining, customer acquisition, and getting clients, and going from 0 to 50, 100 or more clients?
Oh man. Dude, you're never going to know it all. I mean, even when you started your business, like you don't know what you don't know. And so I think it's just taking the next best step.
Yeah.
Right. Figuring out the top 5 things that I needed to do in order to just have a business in general. I needed people. I needed an adjusting table. I needed the software for health records. I needed marketing materials, and I needed a website.
Mm-hmm.
Like those were the 5 things that I knew. I was like, I just need these 5 things, and then I just need to figure out how to get people through the doors, and I'll, do the rest from there. And so I think I put a plan of action into those main 5 things, right, and getting those put into place. And then fortunately, I had a doctor who was a friend of ours that I had met just through the grapevine. And he had really kind of given me some of the tools. This is not the guy that I precepted with either. It was just a random guy that I met. He was just kind enough to give me the tools and a little bit of direction. He had his own practice in North Tampa on how to kind of do things, gave me some of his initial patient paperwork, and I just tried to gather things, and it just kind of works itself out, man. I had gotten with some local fitness facilities and gyms and asked them management, if I could set up a table and interact with their community and their clientele. And as I did that and talked with people about what I could do for them and, got them scheduled for appointments, it just kind of domino effect from there, And
then, from there, like, how would you explain your business now from, just being you in a one-man show, trying to, grind your way through it to where things are now?
Oh, totally different. A journey.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a journey. You kind of figure out what you like and you don't like as time goes on. I talked in the beginning about how I never really wanted to be a chiropractor, but through this journey, right, and having that chiropractic as a solid foundation and starting a business, I quickly learned that I love business growth and development. And it's kind of just evolved as time's gone on. So, I started as a one-man show, doing my own thing, learning the basics of how to operate in this type of business. And as time's gone on, I learned more that I like the business development side. And so I phased myself out. I've hired other doctors to take my place. With that, there was sacrifice. I mean, you're losing income, you're putting revenue towards salaries and that types of stuff. But that's setting yourself up for success for the other things that you want to do. It's a little bit of a risk, but there's reward on the backside of it. And, so now I'm more in the type, the executive level. And I started to do research on mergers and acquisitions and, just private equity and, how to buy and sell businesses. I read 2 books, 2 great books. I don't know if you've read them. Private Equity Playbook, and then Buy Then Build, right? 2 really solid books that I read, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And it's kind of helped me get to where I'm at today.
This acquisition, is a lot of what we do, not a lot, some of what we do and are going to do more of. What is it about chiropractic acquisitions that you like?
It's not necessarily the chiropractic acquisitions. I think it's buying a business, or acquiring something and turning it into something better, right? There's multiple ways that you can make money in life, right? And it's not necessarily about the money. It's about kind of going to work every day and enjoying what you do. I love building shit. And it's what I've learned over these last 5 years is I like seeing the tangible growth and results from the hard work that I'm putting in. When you're a chiropractor that's seeing patients, you can work like a dog and see patients all day out of one room, right? But you're not really seeing growth. You're seeing the growth of your patient base. You might be seeing more patients and more volume, right? But you're not really on the outside of things seeing like, holy cow, I built this big thing. You're actually in it, right? And so that's, I think, where my passion, lies now and what I've learned.
And on the chiropractic side, you just acquired a second business. Is that correct?
Yep.
And what was it about that business you liked and how you improved it that someone could relate to as they think about acquisition?
Yeah.
You keep the brand the same, or you change it to your brand?
No, we keep the clinics that we acquire's names facing in the community. 100%. We don't want to change that, right? We're taking the back house operations and streamlining it. So accounting, insurance, finances, software, all that stuff, making it the same. That's what's intriguing to somebody else in the future, right? The business that I acquired in North Tampa was a solid business. Been around for 15 years. Great name and brand in the community, 1,000 Google reviews, just a well-oiled machine. And it was just right place, right time, right conversations. And, I think I related well to the doctor and with his organization. So he had great systems, processes, and operations in place. And that's one thing I'm big on is having really good systems, processes, and operations because that's what's going to help us scale. And so, any clinic that we're going to acquire in the future is going to have to meet that organizational standard because if it doesn't, it's just going to bring us down.
Right? How did the relationship come about with this doctor? How did you find him?
Naturally. I had just, been having multiple conversations with physicians in the area. And I was looking to buy another clinic to add to what we were already doing. And I actually was looking at 3. And so I had a conversation with a buddy of ours who was in a family office or has a family office, and he was consulting me. I was asking for, his unsolicited advice, like, give it to me, man. And that was probably one of the best conversations that I ever had. So for anybody listening right now, if you're looking to go and do something, buy a business, or, you know, get yourself into something where you're going to be making a significant investment and you've got multiple options on the table, you're probably thinking, I want to be the most conservative and take the less risky of all the options. But the reality is whether you're taking the less, the middle, or the greatest, you're going to have to put in the same amount of work, right? And so this guy, I had 3 different clinics, all different revenues, low, middle, high, and presented them to him. And he was like, take the highest. Like, you can, you know, you're going to buy it. You're going to put in the same amount of work making it what you want to make it. Why not go ahead and do the one that's going to, you know, give you the most return?
And how did you structure the deal?
So we SBA'd it. I SBA'd the deal. You know, from my standpoint, I was able to 100% finance it.
Yeah.
And I just negotiated a really good contract with the doctor. And it turned out to be a great decision. It's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to be, you know, all gravy, but the truth is it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs.
And then how did you go about, you know, as you're modeling your financing and modeling your payback versus what the business was currently doing that you acquired versus what you thought it could do?
You know, it's funny. I have a really, really good friend of mine who's a developer, and we just had this exact conversation. Underwriting real estate is the same way that you underwrite a business. So just confirming and making sure that your numbers that you're going to generate can afford the note it's the same freaking perspective, bro. The same perspective. So, I mean, just from my standpoint, the thing that makes our business go round is going to be having good doctors in place. So as long as I had good doctors in place that were able to provide great level of service to our patients, the business was going to continue to, you know, to perform the way that it was. Now, even though I had a doctor that owned the clinic that was with it for 15 years was leaving, I wanted to make sure that I factored that into the purchase, you know, and that there was going to be a slight loss in revenue due to his absence. And I did that. And so that's kind of like, that helps you create your cushion or your pillow.
And then when will you are you trying to pay it off early, or are you just paying your
Hell yeah.
when we have it done?
Hell yeah. You know, it's tough to say this early on.
Yeah.
You know,
when did you close?
April.
Okay.
April.
I haven't been a year yet.
Yeah. So it's a 10-year note. My goal is to pay it off in half that amount of time.
Yeah. Was SBA your how'd you go about, and I'm, you know, like with what you've learned through the process and what others can learn from you, obviously you looked into all facets of financing.
Yeah.
Why'd you land on SBA, and then what were some of the other options out there?
I landed on SBA first because it was going to be a way for me to build a business and still retain 100% equity, right? The financing that I needed to acquire wasn't going to require me to give up equity. And so I could maintain 100% control of the business. And I think this early on, from the advice I've gotten, it's important to try and maintain as much of the business as you possibly can. And then as you grow and time goes on, you can start to cut out small chunks when you need additional capital and that types of stuff. But if you can jerry rig it to a certain point, maintain 100% ownership, and then have a large liquidity, or, you know, a smaller liquidity event, give up some equity, and, you know, set yourself up for success on a second asset, that's the route to go.
And then at what point, you know, as you continue to scale and acquire, like at what point does it ever make sense to give up equity?
So, from what I've been told, if you can get to 2 million EBITDA, so earnings before income taxes, depreciation, and amortization, exit at that point within my industry, we could probably sell for roughly 5-6x, right? Get 10 million on a sale, pay down your debts, right? And then invest half of it, keep half. You know, at that point in time, you have a little nest egg that you could kind of hang out on, and then work and roll it up. I personally don't want to sell that early. I think we'll probably run it up to anywhere between 5 and 7 million. In a perfect world, I'd get to 10. And as you get that lower number up, your multiple goes higher. And I think that with the resources that I have and things that are in place, it's not going to be too difficult to get there.
I love what you're doing. We talked about earlier, where like I'm a huge believer in, as an entrepreneur, scaling as fast as possible, as wide as possible, as tall as possible, all the above. While some people are like, oh, no, focus on one thing. So then Embers Ice comes into play. When did it come into your kind of thought process?
Not until my buddy had brought about the idea. Mm-hmm. So in that scenario, I was more of the business brains, marketing brains, organizational brains, branding brains for that business, and not so much the capital guy. My partner was more of the capital guy on that. But with both of our resources, we felt we could create something really cool. And so when he mentioned it, it wasn't on my radar until he mentioned it, and he was on board with it and willing to take that risk. And that was another one of those kind of blackout fucking moments where we just started putting one foot in front of the other. And next thing we know, we've got this badass facility.
That's what I like. And the reason is, like, I'm not saying to go do random stuff and get distracted. Like for me, it was, we're in the real estate, short-term rental, Airbnb, hotel business. And it's not a matter of like, if there's a recession, it's a matter of when. It could be today. Yeah. It starts. It could be in 30 years when it starts. Like no one knows, right? And so last February, I'm sitting down with some buddies that are in the home services industry. So, think roofing, electrical, plumbing, garage doors, HVAC. I've always wanted to start kind of to de-risk not just our business, more or less my family, right? We live in Florida. No matter what the economy is, if your AC breaks in July, you're getting it fixed.
If you got an AC, you're a freaking genius, bro.
Yeah. So we close in 7 days on acquiring. So what's unique about the HVAC business? I fully am bullish on individuals using the SBA and going to acquire business. There are so many businesses out there where boomers are into retirement age and there's nobody to buy their business.
100%.
And so ran into an individual on Biz Buy Sell, a one guy show. He actually had an article in Tampa Bay Times. It was like titled "The HVAC Company You've Never Heard of." So one guy, 65 years old, no employees, nothing else. No website, no social media, just him and a cell phone. 1,800 contacts on his cell phone from the past 30 years of doing HVAC. Makes about $500,000 a year. Just servicing, doesn't do any like new construction or new HVACs. He'll give that to somebody else. He just fixes and maintains and does maintenance for HVACs. And so we're going to acquire his business. The reason is, we have our own construction company with multiple GCs and everything. They can't just go get a license for HVAC. You have to have a mechanical license. So a mechanical GC license. So to have a mechanical GC license, you have to have 5 years in the trade. So you have to have 5 years in some mechanical trade, HVACs. So we're essentially acquiring this guy for the license, right? Yeah. And we're really good, at, PPC, SEO, Meta ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. So it's like we can take what we're good at, go get his license, get him to train technicians as we bring on. We can recruit well too. And it's going to be another, multi-billion-dollar business that we create just through the home services industry. Of course, we'll start with HVAC, then we're going to go to plumbing, then we're going to go to electrical. We close on that. Whatever today is, January 8th. In 7 days we close.
This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you. Let me tell you. You want to talk about businesses of the future that are going to have value? HVAC and electrical and plumbing. Yeah. All the trades-based services. Can't replace the people that are doing that work.
And the reason HVAC came into play in my head was because, we've owned a home in Florida since 2019 or 2018 or 19. And, I've used an HVAC company multiple times.
I just paid $15,000 for a new one on our commercial space.
Right. And so it's like you use it all the time. Like in
compare, especially, where we live in the country compared to, South Carolina. I mean, it gets hot in South Carolina, but I mean, it's hot.
AC ain't going away, bro.
Yeah, no matter what happens in the economy. Like I said, I don't care if it's COVID. I don't care if it's a recession like 2008, 9, or a Great Depression like the 30s. Like, if you live in July, especially if you have young kids, like you are going to get your HVAC fixed. Like,
you're going to figure out how to get that air working.
Even if you got to do things that you don't want to do. Like,
I would love to get into that business. Yeah.
And so the same thing, private equity companies are all about it for that same reason. And so, we were able to self-fund it. So that's a unique position that we're in. Because then we can almost go be our own private equity company almost without using, and then without having to, the problem I have with private equity, is, they have to get their money back, one way or the other.
Oh yeah.
So there's all kind of stories out there where they come in and, not to be cliche about it, but they are just ultra dialed in to decreasing expenses and increasing revenue. Yeah. Right. And it's like,
that's all that they want to do.
And not to say I'm not, because of course we're in it to make money, but I'm in no rush to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course I want to do it, but we can take our time doing it and make sure it doesn't break while doing it.
Yeah.
So that's where we're excited. I'm excited about it. It has nothing.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
So, at this, probably this time next year, we'll have 2, multi, 7, 8, 9-figure businesses. So it'll be fun.
I think it's extremely smart that you're taking, that kind of outside 40,000 foot approach of okay, if real estate hits the shit, how are we going to go ahead and continue to pay the bills?
Yeah, right.
And adding a service-based business to what you already have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's excellent thinking outside the box, dude.
And that's what I don't lose sleep about our real estate business, in a recession, because people are going to always travel. So it might be 6, 7 months of which we can handle because we have no debt. We can handle 6, 7, even a year of, not making money, I would say. Even if we have to slim down a little bit, we can do that. But what's great, it's the same, just trying to de-risk as much as possible. I think that's, especially important for, whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's individuals that have businesses. You figured it out at that point. Now you know a little bit about business.
Yeah.
And while every single trade's different, every single business's industry is different, it's really not, I mean, it's sales, it's marketing, it's sales, it's operations.
Correct.
And, I don't, whether it's my business or your business, if you can market yourself well and bring in customers and then make those customers happy through the operations,
that's all you need to do.
Business, right? Whether it's our business, any of our businesses, whether it's the HVAC company, if you can do all those 3 things in the world we live in, kind of got lucky and put some of the right people in the right places we have, one of the businesses that we have is our own marketing agency, and that's only just beginning on how impactful ads are to businesses.
100%.
And so we're on the forefront of that, I feel like, so we're excited about it. Embers Ice.
Hold on. Before we keep going into my stuff, I know you're interviewing me, but I don't know a lot about what you do. So how did you get into what you're doing? Right. And I feel like you're always interviewing people, and you may not have already had an opportunity to tell people what you do, but how did you start what you're starting? And now you're telling, I'm hearing that you have multiple businesses, right?
Do you have a hard stop? Do you have a hard stop today?
No.
All right. How much time you got?
I got time.
So it's, long story short, 2017, moved to Florida. I was a teacher. 2016, out of all things, I was a high school teacher. 2016, 2017. Little shout out to Bad Mother there.
I figured I'd go ahead and wrap
2016, 2017, I was a teacher in South Carolina. First day of school, realized I didn't want to be a teacher my whole life, probably. And long story short, I got a sales job in Tampa. That the fall of 16, that was hey, after the school year, moved down and start. So perfect. It was a high school sports fundraising company. And then went from making, call it, 2017, made $37K as a teacher.
Yeah.
With my master's. My wife made $32K with her bachelor's. and 37. Then 2017, then the first year fundraising, 2018, I think I made like 150K. 2019, I made over 500K, just selling my butt off. And then 2020, luckily we lived in Florida because some of the fundraising companies got destroyed during COVID.
Yeah.
Schools are shut down, so therefore you can't fundraise. In Florida, we had got through the spring baseball season, which is a big season for us, February, March. Then here comes, end of March, April, May, COVID. So we missed spring football season, which is a big season for us. But come August, it was, it was kind of back to, somewhat normal from a fundraising standpoint. Yes, masks were, still a big thing and all that, but schools were in at least, where, some people in our company and, states like New York and states like California, there's some fundraising companies that went under at that point. And then, continue to make, significant amounts of money, 2020 and 2021, 2022. So 2020, was making a lot of money and just, sending 6-figure checks to the IRS at that point. And then so I tried to, do my research on, all right, how can I, pay less money in taxes essentially. And there's a thing called the short-term rental loophole that I found out, where not just Airbnbs, but hotels, RV parks, anything where the individual is staying on average less than 7 days per stay. So not, long-term rentals or even mid-term rentals, not multifamily, but anything in that less than 7 days, you can depreciate. In 2020 and 2021, you can depreciate 100% of depreciation via 100% bonus depreciation from that property. Went down to like 80, 60, then 40% bonus depreciation. But then the big, beautiful bill that passed this past July 4th brought back 100% bonus depreciation. So had bought a bunch of equity in the fundraising business. Then the company got sold April of 22. So I finished up for like 6 months after that. And then kind of at the same time as when I started this company, we had at that point, because we were buying for the depreciation, 6 or 7 properties in the middle of summer of 22. And we were self-managing them. And so it just made sense.
This is you and your wife.
Yeah, me and my wife. So it kind of made sense at that point to start a property management company.
So were all the properties that you owned at that point in time separate LLCs already?
Yeah.
So each property is its own LLC.
Yeah, each property is own LLC, feeding into a Wyoming holding company, feeding into our trust. And so that's how we have it all set up. We actually have a business called Legacy Business Services that does that for people. You got to always be throwing plugs in, right? We had those 6 or 7, started a property management company. And then around that time, I DM'd on Instagram my now business partner. We're 50-50 in the business. His name is Michael Elefante. He's the largest social media influencer in our space. In and around 2 million followers, and like top of the funnel has been like the biggest thing for us to go from, $0 of income, even by the end of the, 2022, we lost money, I'm sure. I have to go back and look, so then 2023 and 24 and 25. So the books aren't completely done yet in 25, but we'll be around, $7 million of EBITDA in 2025. So to go from 0 to 20 to 25 to 7 in 3 years, essentially is crazy.
Yeah.
And so, we started as a property management company, and then the biggest thing that happened for us probably is a lot of individuals. I think all businesses are created by your customers. They have a need, and they start asking you for that need, and you create the business. So they kept asking us, because especially Michael, he's putting all his success via Airbnbs on social media. So, he'd get DMs or get questions like, hey, can I just give you $500,000 and you do this for me?
Yeah.
And it was like, no, too much work. And then 10 people ask, and it's like, okay, we got to figure out how to create a business off of this, right? Mm-hmm. And so BNB Turnkey we created, which is our done for you investment service for Airbnbs. Like, we do everything for the investor. We require $250K of investable cash. and then we'll go do it all for them. And, long story short, that blew up for us. And then throughout that process of BNB Turnkey, we were referring out business to, whether it was realtors, whether it was lenders, construction, interior design, whatever.
Everything you were referring out, you started bringing in-house.
Right. So we started bringing it in-house. And so, hey, we're referring legacy business services, our done for you, and our, LLC creation and asset protection. We were referring out $100K a month to, now a competitor, right? In that space. So it's like, I can go bring in an attorney, and pay them, a lot of money because they're great attorneys, but less than $100K a month, right? And create our own and then scale it organically as well. Same thing with the construction, so now 20 to 40 people coming a month for BNB Turnkey. And then, that's 20 to 40 guaranteed customers for all our other businesses inside of that. Mm-hmm. And then, we're doing the same thing as we grow. Q1 this year, we'll start our own, we call it a fractional family office. Mm-hmm. So I can't stand financial advisors, especially the legacy financial advisors through the industry.
Old traditional mindsets.
Yeah, just traditional mindsets. And, especially today, there's so many stories out there of individuals crushing the S&P 500, and you can go do it yourself at this point, right? Yeah. And so creating a fractional family office that does more than just investment, will audit someone's whole life essentially. What's your life insurance, what's your health insurance, what's your car insurance, what's your liability insurance, audit their whole life. Obviously pay, they'll pay a fee for it, but do more than just financial advice. And then we're going to start our own CPA and tax advisory firm because we're referring, same thing, we refer out of our 4,000 customers, how many of them have a financial advisor? At least half, right? And then all 2,000 of those are different that we could garner the business for.
So all the things that you're doing, you've got now, I'm assuming, how many employees?
If you include the overseas team,
all of them.
Yeah, 170.
Between construction company, Rise, all the other, all the other stuff. Okay, so you got 170 employees. That's in how many years?
3
years.
Yeah.
Right? Crazy to think about that, right? If you do the math, that's there's 12 months a year, 3 years, you're at 36 months. It's almost 5 employees that you guys brought on a month, if you break it down that way, right? But my question for you is how in the hell have you managed to go ahead and start all these LLCs? You're master of delegation, right? So you started your LLCs for all the, I'm sure, Airbnbs that you owned.
Right.
And then you started the LLC of the property management company. Who's built out that kind of corporate structure? Was that you?
No. I wouldn't say we had the best corporate structure up until 6 months ago. When we started Legacy Business Services and brought on Rob Chapman, our chief legal officer, and he heads up everything legacy business, and he kind of, recreated everything I talked about. You got trust, Wyoming holding company, and then LLC for each business. That's just on the business side. On the personal side, kind of the same thing with all the properties underneath it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's wild, man.
Yeah, it's been fun.
You're taking the smart route.
Yeah. You mentioned just delegation, right? And understanding what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I'm not good at, the accounting side and being in a spreadsheet where nerds like Sammy love doing it. And I'm not good at being in the day-to-day operations and the details. I like to think of it as I'm good at 0 to 3. I'm not good at 4 to 10.
Yeah.
So hire amazing people that aren't good at 0 to 3, but are amazing at 4 to 10. And putting the SOPs in place, those the SOP guys like you. And we all have our strength, right? And what I enjoy doing is creating businesses that are easy to scale and don't have a lot of startup costs because of what we've already built.
Yeah.
And so
you're smart in that sense.
Yeah.
So the 7 million EBITDA that you said that you guys should be able to hit in 25 once you close it out.
Yeah.
Is that amongst all the companies? So that's amongst the electrical or the GC comp.
Yeah, so it's all the
Rise.
businesses inside the Rise Collective. And then we talked about like the HVAC company. That's not in that yet. It'll never be in the Rise Collective. It'll be separate because it's separate ownership over there. So anything in the Rise Collective, which is 99% of my life, is just me and Michael. And it's 11 businesses inside of it. You know, what's great about it too that I didn't mention is like as you exit, and I would like recommend when people start to like think about making their own business, I think you got to start building it backwards. Think about recurring revenue, whether it's subscription, whether it's management services fees, whatever it may be. You know, kind of, I'm sure you think about that all the time with, you know, anything that relates to subscription and chiropractic care, because that's going to garner a higher multiple.
Well, that's why we did Embers Ice.
Yeah.
So healthcare, it's not necessarily subscription based. It's more going to be on an as needed basis.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can sell people on care plans and stuff, but that Embers Ice concept was a simple, scalable subscription based business model with a super low overhead.
Yeah.
So that was another reason that we went into that.
Yeah. And so that's why the management company is great because, I mean, March will be our biggest month. We'll do $8 million in bookings. Okay. So call it 15% margins on those bookings. You know, it's going to be $1 million, give or take, of gross profit that we're starting the month off with. Yeah. So like if we only had our fee-based businesses, you know, our high ticket offers, you're starting every month at zero, right? And you have to resell. So we're going to start, you know, March off with, you know, essentially $1 million in profit. So like anything we do over that is just, you know,
gravy.
It's just gravy.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we'll continue to scale, but what's great about it is every single business that our company touches leads the property management. That's the hope, right? Like more and more property management clients. They don't all convert, but anybody that comes through turnkey, I would say 90% convert to property management, if not more.
So you guys take their cash, you help them get the Airbnb set up. You do everything from the construction to the decor to the accounting setup and infrastructure, LLC setup and infrastructure, all of it.
Yep.
And then you take a fee for the setup.
Take a fee for the setup. There's like 3 phases essentially. Phase 1 is the analyzation, the underwriting, like getting the property. We charge $20K for that. All the interior design, furniture, construction, kind of in the phase 2, what we call it, is $18 a square foot. And then phase 3, the management, is anywhere between like, depending on all our turnkey clients get a 15% management fee. But like if it's organic sales for management, it could be anywhere from 20 to 30%.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you set it up and then you got the management side, which you hope that they convert to.
Right.
And then that's your MRR.
Right. Yeah. So the goal is, all right, you know, we're going to have $1 million a month to start off in March. You know, we essentially 2x at this point every single year. It was 1.97x.
200%.
Yeah. It was 1.97x technically from, I'm just talking about bookings, not all the businesses. They're all separate growth, right? But the property management company, in terms of gross bookings, I think we ended last year at $45 million of bookings. And then the year before that, 2024, was $23 million of bookings, somewhere in there. So 1.97x, whatever the math was. And then because the last 6 to 9 months, we really started to figure out owner acquisition. So it takes time to convert to, for example, if we convert a home in Scottsdale, Arizona in July of 2025, that we're going to make money Q3 and Q4 of 25, but compared to Q1 in 2026, really that January through April, where everybody's going to Florida, everybody's going to Arizona to escape the cold weather. You know, all the snowbirds are coming, you know, on their vacations. Like it's going to crush.
Yeah.
And so, you know, so we started to really figure out owner acquisition through all the different funnels we have. So I would be surprised, even though we only did 45 million in 2025, I'd be surprised if we don't do over 100 million in 2026. Even, of course, we track it. So January of 25, not check-ins, but people that booked in January of 25. It might be for a future stay. We were doing $136,000 a day. So fast forward 12 months to this month, it's been 7 days, and we're averaging $250,000 of bookings per day.
So there's no reason you shouldn't be able to hit that revenue rate. If you're at 45 with 136K a day, just do the math.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been a wild ride, and I think it comes down to everybody has the potential to have the success, whether it's success you've had or success I've had. You know, the more I hang around with successful people, especially through, the last 2 years, I think you start hanging around with more people that are successful, the more success you have, or that's the hope at least. And what I've learned about them is like, they're just so obsessed with everything that they're doing.
Yep.
They probably haven't watched Netflix in, years. They haven't, watched the news in years. They don't watch TV. They don't talk on the phone with their friends, right? They don't go out and drink and party. They're just like, I think that's where I'm at right now. I'm just so obsessed with, I tell people all the time, I hang out with my kids when I work. So I'm just so obsessed doing that, to where that's just what I've learned from other people too. Like, they're just so locked in. They're not, anything that's a distraction is not welcome. Gone. And so same thing for me. If it's a distraction from keeping me away from my family and keeping me away from my business, like, which is at least the life I'm in right now and the season I'm in, right? Yeah. I mean, this is the time to get after it. Especially if I'm thinking someone's that's single and no kids yet, or even like no kids. You have kids? You don't have kids?
Not yet.
Yeah. So like, now's the time to go. If I'm a 20-year-old single, I might live at the office.
Hammering away.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just like, it gets so hard when you have kids, and then you get such guilt of, wanting to be an amazing father at the same time wanting to grow a business. And so, I mean, I think about it sometimes, like, what would I do if I didn't, if I was 26 in this position? There's a lot of things I would have done differently. I didn't know what I didn't know. I would 100% either not gone to college, or once I went to college, started a door-to-door sales job.
Dude, if I knew what I know now,
oh my God,
I don't know that I would have never gone into the career that
I haven't. We've hired 170 people. I don't know where any of these people went to college. I don't care if they went to college. I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
And so I would have, in a perfect world, when I was 18, I would have, graduated high school, whatever. I mean, obviously baseball came into play, so which I enjoyed. I think sports are crucial to success in life. And
yeah, I'd agree with that.
And really, I mean, there's just so much into it. Like if you, like, we have this problem in the world today of like not getting, like, cultures not getting along with other cultures, right? And races not getting along with other races. Like, that's what I love about high school football, man, is like,
there's none of that.
Yeah. And you are in it together to win football games. Yeah. You don't give a darn what's beside you, like who's beside you, like what the color of the skin or whatever. So that's what I love about football. So I do love that about baseball and sports in general. But I would have never, gone to be a teacher. I would have started, if I can give any advice, it's start the hardest sales job that you can think of, and right now it's door to door.
I did it.
Yeah.
In college.
Yeah. I mean, our CRO started in door to door sales. I've interviewed plenty of people now, that have started in door to door sales. That's where it's hard as hell, and you get cussed at.
Teaches you so much about yourself.
You get cussed at, and it's kind of like, what's the hardest thing you can do, so that when hard times do come down the road, it's like, if I can get through that, I can get through anything, right? Like, and then especially not just door to door sales, but try to pick the company that will train you the best on sales, the psychology of sales. And then, like, one thing I'll do different with my kids that I think is against society norms is, like, I think it's stupid to have your kids go work when they're 15, 16, 17, just to go work to, like, create responsibility, people would say, right? No, you create responsibility by helping them build something that they feel special about. Like, go start a pressure washing business. Help them, I pay a guy $18 a visit to pick up dog poop.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there are so many, a mentor once told me there's a million ways to make $1 million. And so like go start, I want to have my kids and work with them, and then have our team work with them, and our marketing team train them, and our sales team train them to whether it be a pressure washing business, a landscape business, anything they can go do when they're 15, 16, 17. Versus, hey, go work at Publix just to learn responsibility and get paid minimum wage. And
You
then
learn responsibility through doing the other shit.
and then you can get creative with it. Like hey, Dad, I don't have a pressure washer. Oh, cool. I'll loan you one.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you about interest. Let me teach you. Let me teach you about principal. Let me teach you about payments. Let me teach you about ROI.
I'm on the same page as you, man.
Yeah. So I think I love just trying to. And this is really where the world's come in the last 2 to 3 years. Especially since COVID, with how crazy that was, and we all just kind of went along with it.
Mm-hmm.
But starting to have think on your own a little bit about what are we being ingrained in our minds with. That's why I won't listen to anything on the news. I haven't watched the news in years.
Neither have I.
I won't get on the websites of the news. Because it's all about making money.
Yeah,
it's not. That's
it's all a distraction.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, if it's a distraction, I have no interest in it. And I try to listen to podcasts, but they're getting to be so. Like the All In podcast. I forget the famous guys that are on that. It just got so recession coming.
Value.
Recession coming.
No value, all negativity.
That was 5 years ago. I know it's coming. We all know it's
bound
coming.
to happen at some point. Yeah. Well, you don't want to focus on that.
So.
Man, I'm so glad that we did this.
Yeah.
In general. It's my biggest thing is a young entrepreneur right now. And I don't even like the word fucking entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think it's silly. A young guy who's trying to figure it out and, work my ass off to have some sort of, value in society. It's great to surround myself with another individual. Dude, you have so much knowledge that I think I could probably, get from you. And space is totally different than from what I'm in. Having taken a totally different approach.
Yeah.
You are kicking ass. And
Thanks, dude.
I don't know if people ever pat you on the back, but I'll sit here and pat you on the back from the other chair.
Yeah, I think, and you hit the nail on the head. Like I was talking to you earlier about YPO. I think we get caught up in our own lives, right? And and what we're doing, and you forget about some of the success others are having. And then so it can be it's encouraging to be around people that are successful, in my opinion, because I'll go to a YPO event, right? And I'm around all these decamillionaires or billionaires, and that rejuvenates myself as I get in the daily grind. And, there's good days and bad days owning businesses. Right?
Always.
So,
but the fact you even have $1 billion mindset.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't think a lot of people realize is it's a lot more attainable than you think it is.
Oh yeah.
There's so much of a difference between healthcare and the business that you're in. We have so many regulatory matters that we have to, and guidelines that we have to work within. So
that's what's great. I mean, in the services that we're in, the real estate and now home services, I would say is good margins, because your only margins is employees, payroll. There's no COGS. We don't have any goods really. We're not selling a product. We're not having to have inventory or anything like that. I'm not saying anything's wrong with those businesses. There's some amazing. I just bought 3 pairs of pants the other day by an Instagram ad, right? And so there's amazing businesses, but low risk, asset light, cash flow focused businesses, profitability. That's been the goal.
Being able to create a business without any debt is, it's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to take a $300,000 loan for my first business, Elevate Health, right? And, I'm borrowing cash to go ahead and build this other stuff. And if you can build a business debt free, it's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, and the credit there goes to Michael and social media, and the power of social media, and why I think everybody should be focused on personal brand. And I went kind of all in, I would say 3 months ago,
When did you start?
Yeah, 3 months ago. Aura kind of she's all she does is my personal brand. Because I've just seen how impact, and I got a long way to go, but like I've seen how impactful it is to Michael and like what it's created. And that you hit nail on the head that you can go create businesses and garner customers through social media versus organic free customers through social media versus going to go. Of course, we do our own paid ads and whatnot, but like your customer acquisition cost becomes zero. And that's what it takes to start a business. Is like, how are you going to garner customers? Can you do it for free? If you have a customer acquisition cost of, that's significant, it's going to take a grind to get there.
I was big in my personal brand when I first started out, and I kind of shied away from it. I just didn't ever want to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to do that at the start to get my name out there so people would know who Dr. O was to go ahead and want to book appointments with me. Dr. O is the chiropractor in Tampa. Like he is the guy to go to. And now as I've built these other businesses, I've pulled back on that. And, part of me is like, oh, I enjoy doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I want to be just behind the scenes, just making deals happen.
Yeah.
Right. And really relying on the facilities that we have and our doctors and the level of service that we provide to be our greatest marketing resource and new patient kind of referral source.
I love the idea behind it. I think what people don't realize, like just how much work it is of like trying to come up with copy and then recording. I mean, I got 18 outfits over there that we're going to, spend 4 or 5 hours today recording after this. And so, it's an investment on my time too, which is like, my time's worth a lot. And so, but I think it's worth it because same idea. By no means am I comparing myself to how successful the Paul brothers have been. But Logan Paul, having Prime, and Prime is bigger than Gatorade now. And it's been 2-3 years that Prime's been a company, and it's bigger than Gatorade that's been around forever.
It's insane.
It's like the power of social media and how it can scale businesses is crazy. Not just having followers, but having a story that people can buy into and people can trust. Is important.
There's no doubt about that. You might be sparking a little fire for me to get my stuff back up and running. As much as I don't want to do it, it's truth.
I'm all in. I'm going to record. My goal, here we are, beginning of 2026, just to be more consistent with it, and that was why I hired Aura too, because like it was hard for me and Vic, because Vic's my assistant, and that was the plan for her to do more content, but then she's so busy. She's basically a chief of staff at this point for our business, and so it's the same thing. Alex Ramosi, I think I saw the other day, has like 18 people like just doing personal brand stuff.
Yeah.
So like these successful people, who knows what Mr. Beast's team looks like? I bet they spend, tens of millions of dollars on personal brand.
Yeah.
And so, tens of millions, if you think about it, maybe even, especially if you include time into that too, and like what's your time worth, it could be even more.
Yeah. So I don't want to go too long.
Let's end with this. With the podcast being successful DNA, whether it's your business partners, any doctors around you, any friends around you, or even yourself, or even your sister, what are inside of successful people that you think have to be guarantees for success? Maybe 1 or 2 things, 3 things.
Oh man. I think for me personally, I've been fortunate enough to have 2 people in my life that have added a lot of value. One of them is my dad. He is one of the most consistent individuals that I have ever met. He loves routine, and he works really hard within his routine, and he's proven to be really successful. So I think consistency from him is something that I think is going to be a great factor in my future success, just through watching him. And then the second one would probably be faith. I'm not this big Jesus freak, but I'm absolutely a man of faith. I like, to drink bourbon, smoke cigars, but I also read my Bible every morning. And if there's one thing that I could say that I think would be a future attribute to my future success, it'd be faith. And a gentleman by the name of Ed Coble, he's actually the CEO of Departlo Development. He has been just a great friend and somebody who's taught me how to go ahead and wake up every morning, spend time with the Lord, and seek guidance and wisdom and direction on how I want to take my business. And I've been doing that for 2 years. And just over those 2 years, I've seen my businesses explode.
It was funny you say that. One of the first guests I had on the podcast was our pastor at Harborside Church in Safety Harbor, Kurt Parker. And he said the exact same thing where like me and you aren't visionaries. Like God inserts the visions into our minds and into our hearts, and we act on those visions.
Yep. Ideas, implement. Every morning I pray for ideas, implementation, and integration.
Yeah. So cool. Well, thanks for coming, bro. Really enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again when you're 20 acquisitions in and see what you learned since then.
Rock and roll, dude. Yeah. Hopefully we get there. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.